Hello everyone, Tim Hodges welcoming you back to Speedcafe.com's Crimsafe V8 Supercar Endurance Countdown. We are at the pointy end of the grid for the two Enduros, and today Ford Performance Racing is on the agenda as I welcome Jack Perkins and John Bowe to the show. Three very strong combinations, three very strong cars heading into the Enduros. JB, how do you rank FPR?
Well, obviously they are the form team with 888. Their performance this year has become more consistent. Last year they had the speed, no soft tyre consistency. This year they've got everything. There's no question about that. I think they've forced 888's hand. They've stepped up the development and the momentum in a year they probably didn't want to. Looking at their driver combinations, I think Mark Winterbottom and Steve Richards is the strongest, and I think that's where their result will come from if it comes.
Jack, do you think it is FPR, and they've tried very hard in the past, it's their best chance this year to finally get that Bathurst Winners' Trophy?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. In recent times, the notion up and down pit lane is that the team's always found a way to sort of bugger it up. And I think they've lifted their own game, and this is a really true test for the team, and so far so good. I like JB. I really like the Winterbottom-Richo combination. Good continuity from last year. Richo's efforts in the Enduros last year probably went unnoticed because they didn't figure at the end of the day, but he just sat there behind Percat and Thompson in the two lead cars and just did his thing, was probably saving fuel and cruising, and I think he did a great job. I do like Johnny McIntyre, very underrated co-driver, and I think he's a quiet achiever and he'll carry his end of the bargain in the 6 car for sure.
JB, this was a factor for you in your day, competing for the championship and also competing for the Bathurst 1000 crown. How tough is it to prioritise, I guess, in the team exactly what you want? And do you play for the championship points, or do you just go hell for leather for the event?
Well, it's very difficult because these two guys in the lead cars here are in contention for the championship. So, I mean, I'm sure they would like to win the championship. I think they would like to win the championship. So they'll play the championship game.
You really think?
I do so, yeah.
It is a conundrum, and Grant Rowley from Speedcafe.com hit Mark Winterbottom up about the conundrum that is the championship or the biggest event in V8 supercars, the Bathurst 1000.
Thanks, I'm here with Mark Winterbottom at FPR's factory workshop. Mark, you head to the endurance races in a very strong position. Usually it's this time of year where you're just rising into championship contention, but this time you're right there.
Yeah, it is a little bit different, I guess. Last year we definitely hit a bit of form in the Enduros, but when you're out of the championship you can take risks, so I think we actually brought in an engine development program and a few things at those races. So this time we're trying to fight for a championship, so there's a lot of importance on these two races, but there's the winning the Enduro, it's such a big event. I think you also put the championship on the back burner because a Bathurst trophy is worth a lot, which we all know. So, but every year you go in hopeful of winning or hopeful of having a chance. We're definitely a chance, but it's proven each year, Sandown and Bathurst, how tough they are, and you've got to get to the end. And I've never stood on a podium at Bathurst, so current form hasn't been great, but who knows? It could be the year, it might not be. We might have to wait till next year. But the thing about that place is it gives you 12 months to think about it, and bloody hungry for it, so hopefully this is the year.
Ford Performance Racing's Mark Winterbottom there with Grant Rowley. The problem that will surface for Ford Performance Racing, as it will for all of our big two-car teams, is double stacking in the pit lane. This will be an issue for FPR. Jack, can you talk about the issue confronting FPR and perhaps explain just to everyone about double stacking and how it happens?
Yeah, it's a problem. We've touched on it with a few of the combinations. And what happens is, because each two-car team needs to be serviced under one pit boom with one set of crew, when there's a safety car and everyone needs to pit for strategy reasons, one car has to sit behind the other while it gets serviced. And we've seen most publicly with the Lowndes car, that's lost a lot of time sitting in the pits, and sometimes you can lose nearly 30 seconds in pit lane while the lead car gets serviced. So what's going to happen is a little race within the team. You want to be the lead car in your team to be able to get into the pits first. So I wouldn't mind betting that the FPR, 888, HRT teams, there'll be a little strategy game between the two car engineers, might be putting a barricade up between the next bloke, maybe a bit of a different strategy to try and eliminate this double stacking. And if they can, I think it'll be good for the fans.
Is there any way around double stacking, just changing strategies for both cars?
I think that you need to pit under a safety car because you lose the least amount of time on the track. So unfortunately, the problem will always be present. But what you can do is one team will have to adopt a different strategy, maybe pit early, get themselves out of sync so that when one car runs out of fuel, the second car's still got half a tank and can open up its window and pit at different times. I mean, the only real way of getting rid of double stacking is maybe sabotaging your teammate, but we won't see any of that. But it's just a part of this game that we can't get rid of, and hopefully it doesn't affect the overall result.
JB, you are always cool, calm and collected behind the wheel. How do you keep...
As opposed to when I'm out of the car.
How do you, serious question, how do you keep your composure? And we saw this happen a lot last year, and a lot of times it was Craig Lowndes. How do you keep your composure in the car when you just have to sit there for 20 seconds before you even get serviced?
Well,
knowing that your race is slipping away.
Well, it's motorsport at this level is a very emotional sport anyway, and the better drivers try and keep the emotion out of it because emotion's dangerous. So if you're unfortunate enough to be caught as the second car in the stack, you've just got to sit there calmly, and then you use it as a motivational tool to drive 11 tenths instead of 10.5 tenths. You know, so it's all you can do. It is a sport where luck comes into it a bit, and particularly at Bathurst. And you know, I mean, it must have been crucifying for Lowndes a few times that I've watched when you sit there. But we didn't have double stacking back then, so you know, we ran a number 1 car and a number 2 car basically, and as Larry did in his team. So, you know, if anything got strategic, the number 1 car took precedence, where these guys have got 2 number 1 cars basically, so Triple Eight. So pretty tough call.
Double stacking is a crucial element of the endurance racing. Here is FPR's Will Davison.
There's so much you need to go right in these events. You really need to piece everything together nicely, and with so many points on hand for one single race on Sunday, you know, there's no point even looking at the points championship till we pretty much come out of the Gold Coast. You know, we're putting our championship in the hands of other drivers, and we have all sorts of other elements that need to go right. You need a bit of luck, you need good strategy, you need great crew, you need great reliability, and you need to make no mistakes. So sounds easy on paper. I think we've got all the tools to do it, but I'm intrigued to see who's going to put this enduro campaign together under pressure when it counts.
There is Will Davison, who will team at Sandown and Bathurst with John McIntyre. Time now for the Speedcafe Crimsafe rating, and it's over to Jim Beam Racing's Dick Johnson.
Now we get to the real pointy end, where there's only a couple left. So Speedcafe's rating on the FPR team is like 9 out of 10. Now, 9 out of 10's a pretty good score, considering the fact that they're right up there in the championship. They've got really good drivers and co-drivers. Their car reliability's been fantastic, and not only that, but they've got extremely fast cars, and they do well at Bathurst.
Thank you to Dick Johnson. So 9 out of 10 for Ford Performance Racing. I think he's probably talking most about the car 5 and car 6. Looking at the car 55 of David Reynolds and Dean Canto, what would you give those two, that car out of 10?
Well, I guess they are playing second fiddle to the 2 lead cars, but they're going to have the same equipment, the same opportunity, and we've probably overlooked the co-driver there. Dean Canto does a great job every year, and Dave Reynolds really rose to the occasion last year with Kelly Racing by putting the car in the top 10. So they could do anything on Sunday. I think they may have some stacking problems with the Stone Brothers car they share a boom with, which is the 47 car. But no, I like their chances.
And JB, do you think David Reynolds has lived up to the hype of his much talked about exit from Kelly Racing to FPR this year?
Oh, I think I've got a lot of time for him, and I think he's certainly a star of the future, but I don't think he's there yet. He's also competing in the same car as 2 of the best drivers in the category, and he hasn't quite got there, I don't think. He hasn't converted this obvious speed he's got into results, and to convert it at Bathurst is even tougher. So I would rate the 5 and 6 car as 9 out of 10 for sure, but I'd rate his at probably 8.
All right, thanks fellas. That's no doubt you would think Ford's best chance of victory at Bathurst is with FPR.
Yep, absolutely.
I think so.
So there's the 5, the 6 and the 55 from Ford Performance Racing. Stay tuned. Tomorrow on speedcafe.com, the Crimsafe V8 Supercar Endurance Countdown will continue with the biggest team of all, Team Vodafone. That's tomorrow. You can win a very rare piece of V8 supercar memorabilia. Collect Dick Johnson's Speedcafe Crimsafe ratings and you can use those ratings to enter the draw to win a brand new 18-inch V8 supercar control wheel signed by Craig Lowndes. Make sure you keep logging on to speedcafe.com for more details on how you can win.
Watch me race, Grandpa.
Protecting the things you love is really important. That's why when it comes to security screens, ask for the real Crimsafe. Look out for the rock. If it's not Crimsafe,
It's not Crimsafe.